Hey guys, how's it going? Kulprit here, and today I want to talk a little more about Battlefield 3, and pretty much as I'm getting back into it after a pretty long layoff, it's really become obvious to me what Battlefield 3 really needs. Now, this isn't a video talking about what I hope Battlefield 4 or anything like that has. Actually, I'm going to do a video on that relatively soon. Look for that next week. Some of my thoughts on Battlefield 4. Some new little, rumors pop up. But Battlefield 3 right now, it's here. Medal of Honor Warfighter is obviously not going to take our attention away. Black Ops 2, I mean, I think most of us as Battlefield 3 players, Black Ops 2 is not going to become a main game. You might dally in it. I might check it out. I'm thinking about it. I'm still considering. But we're pretty much going to be Battlefield 3 as far as a Battlefield game at the very least until next year. From what we're hearing, October, November of next year sometime. So what do we need to get us there? Well, I don't know that we have a lot of hope to keep it fresh until then. I think it's pretty clear that, DICE and EA are going to be done with the game after Endgame. We really don't know that much about Endgame, but we do know stuff about Aftermath. And like I mentioned in the last video, I do have some hope for Aftermath, not just on, style of play and things like that, but I feel like Aftermath is finally going to liven up the vanilla game. It's not about whether you liked Close Quarters or not. I'm on record for I did not like it. A lot of people did, and that's irrelevant for this point. Armored Kill did a little better at it, but not quite. And it's basically regular vanilla is stale. The last new map we really got for, the core game, vanilla game. And by that, what I mean is the main servers. When you go into multiplayer and you choose find a server, if you want to play Close Quarters, you have to go on a Close Quarters server. If you want to play Armored Kill, yes, Armored Kill can interface in with a normal server, but it doesn't quite work, and if you know what I mean. Basically, the last time we had that was back to Karkan. Those maps integrated very nicely with the vanilla game. You could go from Grand Bazaar Conquest to Sen Crossing Conquest right into back to Karkan Conquest, and it would work. You didn't get jarred, and you weren't like, what? That's crazy. Now, try to imagine going, let's say Grand Bazaar Rush to Sen Crossing Rush to, Alborz Mountain Rush. It doesn't quite work. You tend to need more players, and the AC-130 makes it all just it doesn't seem to flow very nicely. But you can very much do that. You could do those rush into, let's say you had an urban warfare server. I'm sorry, not a city. You got your metros, you got your bazaars, you got your Sen, and then you could do, Sharkey Peninsula back to Karkan. They mesh. Okay, you get my point. We don't really have that. We haven't had that since Karkan, and that was a year ago, folks. So, I mean, we've had Close Quarters. That is a specific server. You cannot integrate the two because you might have a 32-man rush server, and then you go to Close Quarters, and now you got to dump half the server. It doesn't work. Armored Kill, to some extent, it does. To me, it just doesn't feel the same. And, perhaps it is. I haven't played it extensively since the latest patches, so maybe it's gotten better. But I think we all can agree that we need some... basically what we need is we need a map pack, an old-fashioned map pack, and I can't believe I'm really asking them to just make a map pack. Don't make a whole full-fledged DLC. Just give me some new maps. And I've said before, I think I've said this through Twitter or whatever, maybe I said it in another video, if they wanted to go back and just take a classic map pack, kind of like they did back to Karkan, but of all the Battlefield games, and remaster them or pump them out, I'd be all for that. I think that would be terrific. They're not going to do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not petitioning them to do this. We know they're not going to, but my point is... what drives a game, at least for me, and I don't think I'm in the minority here, are maps, guys. If the maps are bad, it doesn't matter how... I love the gunplay in Battlefield 3, and I like the evolution of it, to be honest with you. I know some of you don't like suppression and things like that. I like where suppression is at right now. I think Battlefield 3 has the best gunplay of any game I've ever played. But what's holding Battlefield 3 back, in my opinion, are the maps. We don't have... great maps. None of them. Even the core. The core are the best maps out there. But did you really think that when the game released? You wouldn't have said that. You would have said, no, we have a lot of map packs, DLC coming out. There's going to be maps we like better. That hasn't proven to be the case. There's, everybody's favorite. If you ask everybody what their favorite maps were, I would say a vast majority would probably be one of the core maps. And then closely behind would probably be some Karkan maps. Now, beyond that, I would say it would be all over the place. So... we really just need some new maps that we can put on a server with the Bazaars, the Sens, the Caspians, the Firestorms. Even the maps you don't like in core, you probably like better than a lot of the DLC maps. So if we could get 4 maps that we could integrate right onto a normal server. So now I'm going, and maybe it's an 8-map server. And now we got the new DLC maps that integrate, so maybe only 3 out of the 4. Now I've got an 11 map server, and that goes a long way to keeping the game fresh, keeping it not boring and stale, and not playing the same places and dealing with the same campers and choke points. We've all been there, and I think that's where a lot of the burnout comes from, is just you're playing the same routes over and over. That's why I'm really kind of hopeful for Aftermath, because as much as they might be changing these up with, say, the crossbow and some of the interactive elements of the Aftermath maps, I think the general playstyle is going to fit relatively nicely into the more urban-y type maps. Like, again, I keep saying this, the Sen Crossings, the Bazaars, the Metros. I don't know that it's really going to be akin to the Caspians or the Firestorms, but I think, you know, you're not going to feel a jarring transition from Grand Bazaar to any of the new maps. I think they're different, and the environments are going to look different, and that's good. I like that. I like the differing environments. But the general, the confines, the length of the sight lines, the close quarter feel, urban, CQB, that type of thing is all going to be pretty much similar. And I'm really hoping that will give the overall game a shot in the arm, because what's happened is really so far the 2 main DLCs, Close Quarters and Armored Kill, have really been kind of like 1 month diversions, and people go and they play them, and you know, that's it. And I haven't been in Close Quarters in months. Armored Kill, I enjoyed Armored Kill a lot more. Now, granted, I had lower expectations for it, but I think, like, look right here. I'm playing TDM on Armored Kill maps, and it is TDM. Now, I have some of my issues with some of these maps. I don't think they're very good TDM maps, but some of them are. Like, I do enjoy Armored Shield a lot. It's one of my favorite TDM maps. But at least there's some value being brought back to, you know, the vanilla game. Now, listen, I understand that the weapons come back. That's not what I'm speaking on. I'm speaking about maps directly. There's some value brought back, whereas Close Quarters had absolutely no value. Close Quarters might as well have been a complete other game, frankly, as far as enhancing the longevity of Battlefield 3. So this is what I feel like Battlefield 3 really needs. I think it really it needs some new environments, some new maps that we can take onto normal servers, because I think one of the biggest frustrations, at least now, and it's been for a while now, is servers in Battlefield 3. It's so hard to find a good server. Hey, you want to play Canals? I could show you 175 servers you can play. But as far as if I want to get in a good objective game, it's really hard to find servers these days. And, you know, some of them are 2 or 3 map rotations. And now, granted, I mean, I'm all for. I don't need every map in a rotation, because some of them I just do not like. You know, Terran, Highway. I don't tend to like any game mode on that map. And in this one here, you know, Bandar Desert, I don't really care for this one either. I've had some of my most epic times on it, but other times I feel like it's fairly poor. I mean, certainly at TDM, I don't really enjoy it. I mean, look at all the snipers you see running around. Once you see an imbalance like that, it's pretty obvious. But I want to go onto a normal server where I want to play Rush or Conquest, and, you know, just have some new maps in there to spice it up, so to speak. That, to me, I think will go so long towards getting us into next year. Now, I don't have a lot of hope for this game really carrying me, obviously, until Battlefield 4. I just don't see it happening. You guys have known I've already waned a little bit here in the last couple weeks to months. You know, my appetite for Battlefield 3 has died down. Right now, I'm in an upswing. I'm hungry for it. I'm going to be playing it. I'm really enjoying it, actually. Playing some other games has really made me appreciate what Battlefield 3 is and just how amazing it is. But, you know, another year of this, I don't see that happening. Unless, you know, Aftermath and Endgame are just incredible. But we don't really have any history to call upon that with any confidence, frankly. So I just hope, basically, they don't try to overdo it, I guess is what I'm saying. Just give us some really solid maps. I've come around on the crossbow a little bit. I'm not as worried about it as I was. I think I kind of reacted a little roughly to it. I'm going to do a video talking about that, how I think it has potential to be a good thing. I still think the potential to be a bad thing far outweighs it. But the main thing I'm looking for in Aftermath is just bring some variety, bring some freshness to the core game, the vanilla game. You know, just give me some new Rush maps, give me some new Conquest maps that I can just get on with my buddies as we're squatted up and we can just go play Battlefield 3 as it was meant to play. I don't want to only play Operation 925 on close quarters when it's double XP just to grind away. I'm at a high enough level. I have everything unlocked. I could care less what my level is. I want to play an engaging and enthralling game. That's what I want. And right now, I mean, I know when the gun sounds on SEN Crossing on Rush, I know exactly where I want to go. And I know exactly how much time I have to get there, and I know exactly where the defender is most likely going to be. So it starts to be very repetitious. It starts to feel like chess, where everybody knows their moves and they're starting to think 10 moves ahead type of thing. And, you know, I'd like a little more variety, something new. I don't necessarily enjoy the chaos of brand new maps, but we just need some variety. We need some flavor, and I just feel like that's been really lacking with these this large DLC approach. You know, when I first went for it, I applauded it. I liked the idea of a complete kind of DLC, new type of just feel. But now, looking back, I wish they would have just done our standard map packs and just every time it was time, issue out 4 maps. You know, what is it? What is it? 8, 10 new weapons, and that's it. Like, we don't need this whole genre of expansion pack. I think the game would have been much better served with just your standard map pack. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd really love to hear it. Like always, guys, if you listen this long, I'd appreciate you hitting a like. Like I said, I'm going to start doing I'm going to talk about next week. I'm going to talk about my thoughts on Battlefield 4. There's been some rumors leaked out. I'm sure you guys have seen the video. I'm going to chime in with some of my comments. And I'm going to talk about Aftermath a little bit as we get relatively close. What are we, 3, 4 weeks? About a month away, I suppose. A little less than a month, frankly. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, let me know what else you guys want to hear from. I hope you guys are having a good week. Looking forward to a good weekend. And I will talk to you soon. Take care, guys.